Basic parts of a computer. The basic parts of a desktop computer are the computer case, monitor, keyboard, mouse, and power cord. Each part plays an important role whenever you use a computer. The computer case is the metal and plastic box that contains the main components of the computer, including the motherboard, central processing unit, or CPU, and the power supply. The front of the case usually has an on-off button and one or more optical drives. Computer cases come in different sizes and shapes. A desktop case lies flat on a desk, and the monitor usually sits on top of it. A tower case is tall and it sits next to the monitor or on the floor. All-in-one computers come with internal components built into the monitor, which eliminates the need for a separate case. The monitor works with a video card located inside the computer case to display images and text on the screen. Most monitors have control buttons that allow you to change the monitor's display settings, and some monitors also have built-in speakers. Newer monitors usually have LCD or LED displays. These can be made very thin, and they are often called flat panel displays. Older monitors use CRT or cathode ray tube displays. CRT monitors are much larger, heavier, and have become obsolete. Because they have lead in them, they have become more difficult to dispose of. The keyboard is one of the main ways to communicate with a computer. There are many different types of keyboards, but most are very similar and allow you to accomplish the same basic task. The keyboard shown here is a standard keyboard and is called a QWERTY keyboard because of the arrangements of the keys. The mouse is another important tool for communicating with the computer. Commonly known as a pointing device, it lets you point to objects on the screen, click on them, and move them. There are two main mouse types, optical and mechanical. The optical mouse uses an electronic eye to detect movement and is easier to clean. The mechanical mouse uses a rolling ball to detect movement and requires regular cleaning to work properly. Mouse alternatives. There are other devices that can do the same thing as a mouse. Many people find them easier to use because they also require less desk space than a traditional mouse. One of these is called a trackball. A trackball has a ball that can rotate freely. Instead of moving the device like a mouse, you can roll the ball with your thumb to move the pointer. Another alternative is the touchpad. A touchpad, also called a trackpad, is a touch-sensitive pad that lets you control the pointer by making a drawing motion with your finger. Touchpads are common on laptop computers. Buttons and ports on a computer. Taking a look at the front and back of a computer case and counting the number of buttons, ports, and slots, and you can find and will probably count at least 10, or maybe a lot more. Each computer is different, so the buttons, ports, and sockets will vary from computer to computer. However, there are certain ones you can expect to find on most desktop computers. Learning how these ports are used will help whenever you need to connect something to your computer, like a new printer, keyboard, or a mouse. Most desktop computers have the following parts on the front of the computer. A CD/DVD drive. This device accepts CDs, or compact optical discs, or DVDs, digital versatile disc, or digital video disc, and on it there will be an eject button. A hard disk LED. This will light when the hard disk is being accessed. This is useful in troubleshooting problems with the computer. If this light is blinking, it means that the computer is accessing the hard drive and is not locked up. A power LED. This is lit when the computer is turned on. A mic jack for plugging in an external microphone. A headphone jack for plugging in a headset. And USB slots for plugging in memory sticks and other USB devices. The back of the computer case. The back of the computer case has connection ports that are made to fit specific devices. The placement will vary from computer to computer, and many companies have their own special connectors for specific devices. Some of the ports may be color-coded to help you determine which port is used with a particular device. The power plug is for plugging in the power cord. A cooling fan for cooling the power supply. There is also on this computer an additional cooling fan for the processor on the motherboard or a video card. Mic and headphone jacks. These are normally color-coded for proper connection. Green is for the headphone or speaker, and red or pink is for the microphone. USB slots. These are additional slots for connecting various USB devices. More memory sticks, digital hard drives, Bluetooth adapters or dongles, keyboards, mice, and so forth. Internet Server T100 port. This is used for connecting to the internet or connecting to a server. HDMI port. This is for connecting a digital display. RS-232 VGA monitor ports for connecting analog displays. Mouse and keyboard ports for connecting wired keyboard or wired mouse. Most keyboards and mice are now connected wirelessly through the USB ports. Parallel printer port, still used on some computers to connect a printer, but most printers are now connected wirelessly through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. There are many other types of ports such as FireWire, Thunderbolt, and HDMI. If your computer has ports you don't recognize, you should consult your manual for more information. Peripherals you can use with your computer. The most basic computer setup usually includes the computer case, monitor, keyboard, and mouse. But you can plug many different types of devices into the extra ports on your computer. These devices are called peripherals. Let's take a look at some of the most common ones. Printers. A printer is used to print documents, photos, and anything else that appears on your screen. There are many types of printers, including inkjet, laser, and photo printers. There are even all-in-one printers, which can also scan and copy documents. Scanners. A scanner allows you to copy a physical image or document and save it to your computer as a digital, computable, readable image. Many scanners are included as part of an all-in-one printer, although you can also buy a separate flatbed or handheld scanner. Speakers and headphones. Speakers and headphones are output devices, which means they send information from the computer to the user. In this case, they allow you to hear sound and music. Depending on the model, they may connect to the audio port or your USB port. Some monitors also have built-in speakers. Microphones. A microphone is a type of input device or a device that receives information from a user. You can connect a microphone to record sound or talk with someone else over the internet. Many laptop computers come with built-in microphones. Web cameras. A web camera or webcam is a type of input device that can record videos and take pictures. It can also transmit video over the internet in real time, which allows for video chat or video conferencing with someone else. Many webcams also include a microphone for this reason. Game controllers and joysticks. A game controller is used to control computer games. There are many types of controllers you can use, including joysticks, although you can use your mouse and your keyboard to control most games. Digital cameras. A digital camera lets you capture pictures and videos in digital format. By connecting the camera to your computer's USB port, you can transfer the images from the camera to the computer. Mobile phones, MP3 players, tablet computers, and other devices. Whenever you buy an electronic device, such as a mobile phone or MP3 player, check to see if it comes with a USB cable. If it does, this means you can most likely connect it to your computer. Inside a computer. Have you ever looked inside a computer case or seen pictures of the inside of one? The small parts may look complicated, but the inside of a computer case isn't really all that mysterious. This will help you master some of the basic terminology and understand a bit more about just what goes on inside a computer. The motherboard. The motherboard is the computer's main circuit board. It's a thin plate that holds the CPU, memory, connectors for the hard drive and optical drives, expansion cards to control the video and audio, and connections to your computer's ports, such as USB ports. The motherboard connects directly or indirectly to every part of the computer. CPU processor. The central processing unit, CPU, also called a processor, is located inside the computer case on the motherboard. It is sometimes called the brain of the computer, and its job is to carry out commands. Whenever you press a key, click the mouse, or start an application, you're sending instructions to the CPU. The CPU is usually a 2-inch ceramic square with a silicon chip located inside. The chip is usually about the size of a thumbnail. The CPU fits into the motherboard's CPU socket, which is covered by the heatsink, an object that absorbs heat from the CPU. A processor speed is measured in megahertz, or millions of instructions per second, and gigahertz, or billions of instructions per second. A faster processor can execute instructions more quickly. However, the actual speed of the computer depends on the speed of many different components, not just the processor. RAM, Random Access Memory. RAM is your system's short-term memory. Whenever your computer performs calculations, it temporarily stores the data in the RAM until it's needed. This short-term memory disappears when the computer is turned off. If you're working on a document, spreadsheet, or other type of file, you'll need to save it to avoid losing it. When you save a file, the data is written to the hard drive, which acts as long-term storage. RAM is measured in megabytes or gigabytes. The more RAM you have, the more things your computer can do at the same time. If you don't have enough RAM, you may notice that your computer is sluggish when you have several programs open. Because of this, many people add extra RAM to their computers to improve performance. Hard drive. The hard drive is where your software documents and other files are stored. The hard drive is a long-term storage, which means the data is still saved even when you turn the computer off or unplug it. When you run a program or open a file, the computer copies some of the data from the hard drive onto the RAM. When you save a file, the data is copied back to the hard drive. The faster the hard drive, the faster your computer can start up and load programs. SATA, or Serial Advanced Technology Attachment hard drives, have internally metal disks that spin. SSD, or solid-state drive hard drives, have no internal moving parts. These new drives for PCs are much larger and faster than the SATA, but also are more expensive. Power supply unit. The power supply unit in a computer converts the power from the wall outlet to the type of power needed by the computer. It sends power through cables to the motherboard and other components. If you decide to open the computer case and take a look, make sure you unplug the computer first. Before touching the inside of the computer, you should touch a grounded metal object or a metal part of the computer casing. This is to discharge any static buildup. Static electricity can be transmitted through the computer circuits, which can seriously damage your machine. Expansion cards. Most computers have expansion slots on the motherboard that allow you to add various types of expansion cards. These are sometimes called PCI, or Peripheral Component Interconnect cards. You may never need to add any PCI cards because most motherboards have built-in video, sound, network, and other capabilities. However, if you want to boost the performance of your computer or update the capabilities of an older computer, you can always add one or more cards. Here are some of the most common types of expansion cards. The video card. The video card is responsible for what you see on the monitor. Most computers have a GPU, or graphics processing unit, built right into the motherboard instead of having a separate video card. But if you like playing graphic-intensive games, you can add a faster video card to one of the expansion slots to get a better performance. Sound card. The sound card is also called an audio card. It is responsible for what you hear in the speakers or headphones. Most motherboards have integrated sound, but you can upgrade to a dedicated sound card for a higher quality sound. Network card. The network card allows your computer to communicate over a network and access the internet. It can either connect with an Ethernet cable or through a wireless connection called Wi-Fi. Many motherboards have built-in network connections, and a network card can also be added to an expansion slot. Bluetooth card or adapter. Bluetooth is a technology for wireless communication over short distances. It's often used in computers to communicate with wireless keyboards, mice, and printers. It's commonly built into the motherboard or included in a wireless network card. For computers that don't have Bluetooth, you can purchase a USB adapter, often called a dongle.